7:03 on this Tuesday, October 6th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company. Our guest host today, Larry Tomlinson.
Well, thank you, MJ, and good morning, everyone. And we welcome you into Coleman and Company on this Tuesday morning. Beautiful day out there today, and according to the weatherman, it's going to be like this for the next 2 or 3 days. And so we're being blessed with some really good weather. Might could use a little rain, but that's okay. We'll get it when we need it. Program brought to you this morning by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. I have Tracy Pope here with me today on behalf of the hospital, and we always want to welcome them to be here and be a fine sponsor and such a good partner with WANT Radio and the Coleman Show. But like Coleman's on special assignment, and we hope he's having a good time and enjoying his time away from the office and doing what he does here in our community every day. Tracy, good morning to you all.
Good morning, Larry.
How's things at Vanderbilt Wilson?
Busy. We are so thankful that our community just supports the hospital, and we are busy and thriving and doing well.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, as you know, and my wife was a big part of that hospital for a long, long time, and I know we were really excited when we found out that Vanderbilt was coming to Wilson County.
Absolutely. Yeah. We actually just celebrated our 1-year anniversary being part of the Vanderbilt health system. So we have made a lot of progress in the past 12, 13 months, but we have a lot more to go. Yeah.
Well, I know she and Dr. Robert Bone worked awfully hard with some people that helped make that happen, and we were excited about it and continue to be today. You have a guest with us today?
I do. Yes, we have Dr. Nachanani. He's our gastroenterologist with Vanderbilt Integrated Gastroenterology, and he has been with us a little over a year, and they have had some additions to his office, and he's expanding and thriving as well. So we're excited to hear what he has to say.
Well, we'll get right into it and let Dr. Nachanani have as much time as we can this morning. Welcome, sir.
Hey, good morning, Larry. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, doctor. It's a pleasure to have you here with us this morning. Pleasure to have you a part of our county and our community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for what you do and all the time that you have spent getting to where you're at today. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I have been in the Tennessee community for the last 9 years and in Lebanon for the last 1.5. And I really appreciate the community supporting me. I'm a gastroenterologist by training. I have a wife who's an endocrinologist and 3 children, and they try to drive me crazy sometimes.
We all understand that. Yes. Well, now, where did you train? Where did you go to school?
So I went to medical school in India.
Okay.
And I did my residency and fellowship in Kansas City. And then came directly to Nashville after that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in Nashville ever since.
Yeah.
I love the place.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you here. And how long have you been doing it? 9 years, you say?
9 years doing gastroenterology.
Yeah. Well, that's a very important job, and it deals with all your digestive stuff and everything. And tell us a little bit how things are going.
So things are doing great. We are really doing very well from a hospital perspective.
Mm-hmm.
With the COVID-19, we did start, we had some decline in some procedures, but now again, the patients have started coming back. We are taking all the precautions so that the patients can be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. I guess the COVID-19 is really changed the way that everything is done now. Schools, medicine, going about our day-to-day business, and I'm sure it's had a big impact on what you all do at the hospital, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We have to take our precaution. Like right now, I'm sitting with a mask, so you can hear my sound being a little bit muffled. But, we have to take our precautions on, to make sure the patients are protected.
Mm-hmm.
And things have really changed.
Yes.
But, I think that's the new normal for some time now.
Yeah. I guess that's a good word for it, the new normal.
Correct.
Yeah, the new normal. Yeah. Well, are you seeing an uptick in colonoscopies and things like that are people getting more in tune to them? I know years ago it was something other that we just heard about on occasionally, you know, and I can't remember how long ago it was been that I first heard about someone having colon cancer, you know, and it hadn't been that long. But nowadays it seems like it's the treatment's a lot better. We're catching it a lot quicker, and that's things that you all have done to help get that word out there.
Oh, absolutely. So the screening rates are on the rise, but still, almostly 1/3 of our population does not get screened. We are able to catch colon cancer at a much earlier age. With the colonoscopies, we are able to remove colon polyps, so that prevents the development of colon cancer. But still, it's the third leading cause of death among men and women combined. And even in the United States in 2020, we're going to have more than 100,000 new cases of colon cancer. And, it's very important for people to get screened.
How often do you recommend a screening?
So for a person who has no polyps and no family history and is what is considered average risk, we recommend it every 10 years.
Every 10 years.
And the American Cancer Society recommends starting at the age of 45 now, which is something new.
Okay. 45. Every 10 years after that if you haven't had a problem family-wise.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, sure is. Well, tell us a little bit about your practice. How's that going?
So the practice, it's picked up in the last 1.5 years. We take care of patients with very digestive different problems, including Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. These are autoimmune conditions, and right from things like liver disease. So we have the host of them like celiac disease and everything. So we treat a whole host of digestive problems.
And we recently had some additions to Dr. Nachanani's practice. So Dr. Mark Miller and Dr. Neil Price, they are independent physicians here in the community. They've been taking care of our community for a while, and they just joined the Vanderbilt Health System. And Dr. Nachanani and Dr. Miller and Dr. Price, they're located over at the 1616 West Main building. It's that blue glass Vanderbilt Health building. So we are quickly filling up. I know that Dr. Nachanani has been moved around a few times, just trying to find the right space, but their practice is growing, and we're excited about the addition that he's had.
Good. So he has 3 people in his practice with him.
He does, yes, and that's new as of October the 1st.
October the 1st. Yeah. Tracy, anything you'd like to say about Vanderbilt Wilson right now before we get him back with Dr. Nachanani?
Just I think what we touched on in the beginning, that our hospital is so thankful to be part of the Vanderbilt Health System. It's really made a huge difference with the community and the opportunities that we have now to serve our Wilson County community. Vanderbilt, has taken services that we already have and just made additions to the services that a community, we're considered the fastest growing community in our state, and we have needs. We want to take care of our community with regarding healthcare, and they're the company that can help us do that.
Yeah. I guess the COVID thing that we've all been dealing with, the pandemic for the last 8-9 months now, has it affected the census at your hospital?
Well, it's been cyclical. I think that Dr. Nachanani can kind of talk about this as well. As far as when we stopped doing procedures, our census definitely went down. We had fewer ER visits. Everybody was just trying to figure out the correct way to diagnose and treat patients with symptoms. But I think that we are well on our way to being able to take care of our community. Our ER visits are back up. Our census is up. Our census is higher than it has been in over a year. And that's not just our COVID patients. That's overall. We have a specific COVID unit now, and our census regarding COVID patients have sort of been steady over the past few months. But as far as other hospital care, we've definitely seen a rise.
Well, that sort of leads us into Dr. Nachanani. What are some of the different methods that you recommend for screening?
So the methods which are recommended by the American Cancer Society is colonoscopy is obviously the gold standard. But in people who are average risk, that means they don't have a family history of cancer or polyps, they can also get a Cologuard test, or a fecal or a blood test. Now, obviously, these are not very sensitive and they don't remove polyps. So the colonoscopy, in addition to being a screening test, it's also a sort of preventive tool because they remove the colon polyps which can develop into colon cancer.
Is that a pretty simple test that you give, or does that require a overnight stay or anything like that?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
So the test is pretty simple. It's the prep. You know, the prep has changed quite significantly in the last few years. We just give them like 2 big bottles of Gatorade, and we mix some powder in it, and they can drink that. And the next day, you know, they don't even remember the procedure because they're put to sleep. And it's a very simple 30-minute procedure, which, you know, from start to end.
Yeah. Well, all right. I think MJ's saying it's time for us to take a break. We'll be back right after the break. You're listening to Coleman Company on WANT 98.9, Lebanon, Tennessee.
All right, let's go ahead and see what's happening on the roadways. I want to thank Bates Ford, and that regular oil change is $24.95 up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's still limping along here as we check it out live on 24 westbound as they work this accident here at Harding Place. Again, that's our biggest backup coming in from Rutherford County right now into Davidson County here because of this wreck on 24 westbound at Harding Place. There's a crash 3500 block of Murfreesboro Pike, 4600 Nolensville Pike, South Nashville. That wreck just happened. Hey, check out the all-new chicken sandwich now available at Princess Hot Chicken, 5814 Nolensville Pike. It's worth the drive. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
Hello, Patriots. To get all the best Trump gear and more, stop by the Wilson County Republican headquarters located at 11320 Lebanon Road in Mount Juliet. Also join us for our monthly meetings held on the second Saturday of every month at 9 a.m. at Music City Baptist Church located at 7104 Lebanon Road in Mount Juliet. On behalf of the Wilson County GOP, God bless Tennessee and God bless America.
Lebanon High School football is live this season on WANT and WCOR. Join Tommy Bryan and the crew with all of the action brought to you by Bates Ford, Cedar Recovery of Middle Tennessee, the law firm of Clemens & Clemens, D.T. McCall & Sons, Fakes & Hooker Lumber, Sheriff Robert Bryan, Lebanon Police Chief Mike Justice, and Wilson Bank and Trust. Lebanon High School football Friday night starting with the pregame show at 6:30 on WANT FM 98.9 and WCOR AM 1490.
Good morning. Welcome back into Coleman and Company. This is Larry Tomlinson. I'm sitting in with for Coleman today, and I have with me Tracy Pope from Vanderbilt Wilson and Dr. Nachanani, who is a GI doctor at Vanderbilt Wilson County, and we're talking primarily about colon cancer. We're going to get into some other digestive type things that you have to deal with. We all have to deal with. And what are some of the risk factors of colon cancer, Dr. Nachanani?
So the risk factors for colon cancer are, what I call preventable and non-preventable. So the non-preventable risk factors are things like your family history, which you cannot really change. So the family history of colon cancer or people having a family history of colon polyps are a major risk factor. Now the risk factors which are preventable are things like tobacco abuse or not doing enough physical activity. Like those increase the risk of colon cancer. Also, diet high in red meat, which I know is very difficult to say this on the radio. You might get some pushback from that, but red meat increases the risk of colon cancer, and significant alcohol use also increases the risk of colon cancer.
Well, we always hear that, and of course nobody loves any steak any better than I do. So, but yeah, that's interesting to know. That I guess that colon cancer's it's like a lot of other diseases that we deal with that's hereditary then.
Correct. So quite a significant chunk of colon cancer is hereditary. Absolutely.
So anyone out there that has a family history of colon cancer, they need to stay on top of that probably more so than someone that doesn't, right?
Absolutely, and I'm from that thing itself because I have a family history of colon polyps, and I got my colonoscopy started 10 years ago already. So I practice what I preach.
Okay. Well, what other type of dietary things do you deal with?
So the other dietary things we deal with is dietary intolerance, like celiac disease, lactose intolerance, like anything which caused like malabsorption. So we deal with a whole host of dietary intolerance, factors in our practice.
Okay. I'm kind of curious. I want to go back to the time you spent in Kansas City. Were you in colon? Was that what you did out there?
Correct. So I was doing my residency and fellowship, which was a 3-year fellowship at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and then I moved here from there.
Yeah.
Love the
Okay.
place though.
It is, and they have a rich tradition and history in the medical field out there too in Kansas City, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They have some really good universities and at the cutting edge of research.
What? Tell me, what are some of the symptoms that a person needs to be looking for, or if they knowing what they might have and making them want to go get a test?
So the most important thing what I tell people to realize is the colon cancer in its early stages has no symptoms. And it's very important to get your screening regularly. But some of the symptoms that can be presented for colon cancer is abdominal pain. Like if you have some abdominal pain or cramping. Secondly is blood in the stool. Like if you start seeing blood in the stool, that's an alarm sign for us. And thirdly is weight loss. If you start having weight loss or change in your bowel habits, those are 3 or 4 important symptoms which we look for. And always tell people that in those cases, definitely get a colonoscopy done.
Yes. So you recommend that a person would have one when they were 45.
Correct.
So, but if you see or develop any of these symptoms before then, you should have it checked out, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. All
And
right.
if you have a family history of colon cancer or a family history of colon polyps, it might be indicated earlier than 45.
Okay. Yeah. Is your practice going good here?
Practice is going very good. We
Yeah.
have, definitely the community has supported us significantly. We are trying to make sure all the hospital calls and everything are covered, and the community has supported us significantly here.
Yeah. Well, I know that you told me this morning that you got called in earlier today. Does that happen quite frequently?
My wife thinks, I'm actually married to the hospital, but she keeps joking that, I come to the hospital so often that, sometimes spend more time here than at home.
Yeah, I understand that. Now,
But,
where-
I'm glad to take care of the patient's needs. That's
Yeah,
why
okay.
we're here.
Yeah. Okay. Do you live here in Lebanon?
I live close. I live in Nashville, actually.
Okay.
So it's only 30
Okay.
minutes away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not bad at all. Yeah. Okay. Tracy, anything you want to say?
I think he's doing a wonderful job. I'm glad to hear all about colon cancer. I would love to hear more about celiac disease. That is something that to me was not very common 10 years ago, but we hear a lot about that. So tell us what a person's signs and symptoms, or maybe, a patient thinks that this is normal for them, but, we come to find out it's not normal. It's something that could be treated. What does celiac disease mean? And tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, that's a great question, Tracy. Actually, celiac disease is one of my specialties. I actually take care of a lot of patients with celiac disease. It's one of the diagnoses which is most commonly missed. It's actually very prevalent in our US population. Almost 1 in 10 people actually have celiac disease, and they don't know about it. So some of the things that happens with celiac disease is they have diarrhea. The other things we look for is just anemia. But celiac disease can affect a whole host of factors. You can just have unexplained fatigue sometimes. You can have malabsorption, that you're trying to eat and nutrients are not getting absorbed, and vitamin deficiencies. And you can also get osteoporosis along with celiac disease. So we look for lots of factors, for celiac disease because it can affect the whole body. What celiac disease is, it's an allergy to gluten, which is unfortunately present in many of our foods. And so people have to go on a gluten-restricted diet. And the most common thing, which is like breads and wheats and cakes, so all the good things, unfortunately, have to go away. And patients, unfortunately, don't like that when we tell that. But, people see a huge difference, especially when they go on that diet.
So does that typically correspond with the lactose intolerant? I know that's dairy, and you said celiac is gluten. Do people usually have that together, or are they totally separate?
So they can be an overlap. So they are separate disorders, but many people actually have an overlap of those syndromes. So I always tell people that we check them for both, like especially if they're having, the symptoms are very similar, unfortunately. So we have to check them for both sometimes.
Okay. And how do you make that diagnosis of celiac disease or lactose intolerant? Is that just a blood test or?
So lactose intolerance is a breath test, and celiac disease can be diagnosed by a host of factors. The most common way of doing that is a blood test, but the other way we do it is by an upper endoscopy. We take biopsies from the small bowel, and that can tell you about celiac disease.
Okay.
Well, I know you also specialize in Crohn's disease.
Correct.
And, that's something that, we heard about it a long time ago, but didn't think a lot about it. But now it seems that you hear more about Crohn's disease than before. Is
Absolutely.
it because it's being diagnosed more now than it used to be, or it just sort of flew under the radar there for a long time? Or
I think, both. I think it did fly under the radar quite some time, but now I think the education of the population has increased and people are looking for it also more, especially if they have the symptoms and they're coming to the doctor much more often to get tested.
Okay. Well, this celiac that we just been talking about, that sort of piqued my interest here because, you hear a lot of people talking about they having those type of symptoms, but they don't really even think much of it. I mean, it's sort of just something you think you deal with. It's sometimes give you an upset stomach, or or as one of my old coaches used to say, you eat some bad bologna or something. But that's something that probably a person really needs to be aware of now.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we actually had it was a very famous NFL player, did not have any GI symptom, just had fatigue and anemia. And they checked him for celiac. He actually had full-blown celiac disease. And they tested him, and then they went on the diet, and he improved significantly.
Okay.
So there was actually one case where I always tell people it's not just the GI symptoms. You could just be anemic or having fatigue, and you could actually have celiac disease.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. And the good thing about that is knowing that it is treatable. And if you get on it, you can take care of it.
Absolutely, it's absolutely treatable, and you can completely reverse your symptoms.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I want to once again talk about where you're located down in the Vanderbilt building on 1616 West Main Street, down next to, I guess, a landmark would be First Freedom Bank.
Absolutely. We call it the Blue Glass Building. It's Vanderbilt Health. We have a great sign out front, but it's a multi-specialty building. So Dr. Nachanani's practice is in the building, as well as we have primary care. We have a new women's center for health. We have urology. We have surgery. We have neurology. I'm sure I've just left something off, but we have, like I said, it is growing and expanding, and it's a multi-specialty building. So.
Well, Dr. Nachanani, I want to thank you again for being here today, and our time's getting kind of short, but how would you like to close out? Anything you'd like to say to our listening audience this morning?
Thank you for having me. The one thing which I would definitely say is get your colon cancer screening. It's a very preventable disease, and definitely, we don't want to succumb to that disease.
And I suspect that most people's insurance would pay for that.
Absolutely.
As a preventive
absolutely.
thing. Yeah.
It's covered as a preventable service, so most insurances do cover it.
Yeah. Well, good. Anything else you'd like to say? I know like I said, we'll welcome you to our community. And
Oh, no, we're glad to be part of Vanderbilt Health, and we really appreciate the support of the whole community, to our hospital.
Well, thank you. Tracy, what about...
So you can always find more information about Dr. Nachanani's practice and our other practices on our website, VanderbiltWilsonCountyHospital.com. We have all the Wilson County locations that are associated with Vanderbilt on our website, and it also has appointment. Sometimes you can make online appointment requests or just call the office. If you're you're interested in seeing Dr. Nachanani, most insurance companies do not require a referral, so you can just call, make an appointment. His scheduler will make sure that you are in the right place and he has the right specialty for your needs, but it's very easy. And like I said, Vanderbilt, WilsonCountyHospital.com. You can find lots of information.
Dr. Nachanani, I guess you might want to tell everybody what your office hours are.
So we are there in the office Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. Even if we are doing endoscopy, we can always run in and see you, or one of my partners, Dr. Miller or Dr. Price, one of us can definitely see you. And we are pretty good at getting people in if needed.
Well, once again, thank you for being here, Tracy. Thank you and Vanderbilt Wilson for being part of our community. And it's we're all excited about y'all being here. And I know y'all got some things coming up too here in the next few days, I think.
Well, we have opened many new practices over the past 2 months, and one of them we were just talking about is our Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center. So we now have radiation oncology that has been active since August the 29th, and we are adding the medical oncology portion of that as well. Just this month, we've opened a Vanderbilt Center for Women's Health in the past 30 days. That is a practice of 7 providers, 3 physicians, and 4 midwives. So we're very excited about the new additions to Vanderbilt.
A lot going on.
A lot going on.
A lot going on down there. So, but we encourage our listening audience to pay attention to Vanderbilt Wilson County, and if you have a need, go by and see those folks and let them help you out, because they are a great addition to this community. Time's about up this morning, so Tracy, Dr. Nachanani, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for everything y'all do. And MJ, I think it's about time to go to a break.
Thanks, Larry. It's now 7:30. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by Absolute Kubota and Rental Land Pride. Quality tractor implements, including cutters, finish mowers, box blades, tillers, and more. 5-year gearbox warranty. Extremely durable and well-built. 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. People are still staring at that wreck as they drive by on 24 westbound at Harding Place. Now they're reporting a wreck 24 westbound at Bell Road. That doesn't surprise me, because trying to get up through Antioch right now in from Rutherford County has been a challenge. Also working at wreck 3500 block of Murfreesboro Pike. Hey, celebrate autumn this year at Ober-Gatlinburg during Oktoberfest. Now through November 1st, you got music, food, live entertainment. Visit obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chuck, you're on time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
Vanderbilt Health is honored to announce the newest addition to our family of hospitals, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital in Lebanon. This hospital will provide care for Wilson County residents with the goal of improving the health and well-being of our newest community. Hospitals are for healing, new life, and recovery. They're places of innovation and learning. At the end of the day, hospitals are all about one thing: community. Thank you for welcoming us into yours. Let's do great things together.
It's going to be a beautiful sunny day out there today. Highs this afternoon will top out in the mid-70s with plenty of sunshine. On Wednesday, temperatures will top out near 80 degrees with mostly sunny skies. Thursday's forecast calls for more sunshine and highs in the low 80s. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Good morning and welcome back into the second half of Coleman and Company. I think this will be an interesting 30 minutes we have, and we are brought to you by Hearthside Senior Living, and I'm happy to have Janet Presley, the office manager from Hearthside, here with me this morning. She's sitting in for Sean Dozier, and good morning, Janet. Welcome to Coleman and Company.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here. Tell us about what else is going on up on Hearthside.
Everything's going well at Hearthside right now. We have all of our homes are still under contract, so we do have a waiting list for those. We do presently have 2 or 3 assisted living rooms that are available. If you're interested, you can always call us at 615-443-1994, or you can go to our website and send us a message.
Okay. Have things opened up any since the COVID? Are people allowed to come in and visit with loved ones now that might be over there in the assisted living part?
Well, we are doing porch visits right now.
Okay.
We were going to open up on the 1st. A lot of them were. If you did not have any COVID cases, unfortunately, we did have one, which pushes our opening back 14 days. The lady is doing well. She has completed her 14-day quarantine, and when we get that negative test, she will be allowed to come out of her room. But right now, we're just playing it safe, keeping her in her room, washing our hands, wearing our mask. We're limiting our number of staff that go into that room until we do get that negative test. But like I said, she's doing great, and we have to wait the 14 days as the state allows us to open back up.
So you don't have any houses available?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Not right now. We always encourage people to get on that waiting list because you never know when one's going to come available.
Yes. Are any under construction? Or are you about built out?
We have finished.
I
All
thought
of
so.
them are completed, and all
Yeah.
of them are filled. So we're excited about that.
Well, I know you are, and I mean it's a wonderful community. Up
Oh,
there.
it's wonderful.
Yeah, I was visiting someone the other day.
I worked for Sean at a nursing home before I came to work for him at Hearthside, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to make that change, but once I walked into that facility and met the people and met the residents, I knew I'd made the right choice.
Yes. Are you a Lebanon girl?
I was born in Lebanon, but I
Okay.
live in Smith County now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just right up the road. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us about this morning about Hearthside?
Well, like I said, we do have the assisted living rooms available. We have a couple of small, so if you want to give me a call at 615-443-1994, or you can go to our Facebook page or our website and contact us that way. We are doing a few virtual tours, and we have a limited inside tour. It's really quick, but we can get you in and let you see the room firsthand.
Yes. Okay. A lot of things are going virtual now, so
I know.
that may be part of the new normal. Dr. Wright and I may talk about that here in just a few minutes, but that's 443-1994. 615 is your phone number there. Located at 215 Castle Heights Avenue North. And we're certainly happy to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
And taking Sean's place. And, you know, it's just wonderful that we live in a community like we had in UMC. I had Vanderbilt Wilson there a while ago, and to have the health care facilities and the facilities that are here for our community, that people really need them. So we're very fortunate where we live.
We are. We're blessed.
Yes, we are. Yeah. Would like to encourage everybody that if you having a need for assisted living or senior living, that you go by and see the folks at Hearthside Senior Living at 215 Castle Heights Avenue North. Their phone number, once again, is 615-443-1994. And they're locally owned. They've been here for quite a while now, and they, as we just talked about, they've built out. But and there's not really any more room up there to expand, are there?
I don't think so, unless we shorten the parking lot because it's full. It really is.
Yeah.
I think in the future they plan on adding a wing to the assisted living and making some independent apartments, which would be something that a lot of people would be interested in.
Well, we'll be anxious to hear how
Yeah.
that comes out.
The
Yeah.
plan was to start some of the remodeling for Hearthside this year and to get some ideas on an independent wing, but with the COVID, we've had to put that off for a while. But hopefully soon we can get back to planning that.
Okay. I know Sean usually gives out a Hearthside hello.
I
You
have
got
one.
You got
I
one
sure
today?
do. We had a resident and his wife go to the mountains last week. They showed up at the front door yesterday with me some peanut butter fudge. So I
Okay.
think that deserves a Hearthside hello, and that is for Tom and Pat Harris.
Oh, well, and so they've been to the mountains?
They
Yeah.
did. They did.
Okay, well, that's
Had a
good.
great time.
Yeah. Well, Janet, thank you for being here this morning. And
Thank
for
you.
for you all being a good sponsor of Hearthside, for being a sponsor of the Coleman Show on every Tuesday. And we look to see you again soon.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Dr. Donna Wright is our guest this morning. Dr. Wright? I think she's here.
I am.
Oh, yeah, there you are. Yeah, okay.
I am
How
here.
are you this morning?
I am just proud to be here. What can I say? It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Every day's good.
It is. Fall break going on?
Yes, it started yesterday. I'm watching all the pictures come in from the beach, and you know, everyone's going out and relaxing and rejuvenating, which, I mean, after really not 9 weeks, but the first 7 weeks of school, well-deserved and well-earned.
Yeah. Well, I hope they don't bring anything back with them that we don't need.
Well, I think you put that warning out at the last board meeting as far as that please be careful, and you know, we'll certainly be checking 2 weeks after the fall break's over. I mean,
Yeah.
you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that concerns me the most is what our numbers will look like when we get back off of fall break in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Well, we certainly needed fall break too, because we started seeing what Chuck Whitlock refers to as a bloom, and so it was a good time for break, and for those that were either COVID positive or even quarantined to recover. So,
Yeah. Well, what have you got planned for this week? I guess you're probably working though, aren't you?
well, off and on. I'm also I've got 3 little grandchildren that. They're on. The 2 oldest are on break right now, and so they just don't understand why Gammy might be working. So yesterday we went to Safari Land.
Y'all took a field trip.
We took a field trip yesterday. Had been licked by a llama and attacked by an ostrich. So we had a good day. A good day.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Where is Safari Land?
It's in Alamo, Tennessee, in Crockett County. It's about 2 hours from here, and I'd heard many of our parents talk about it, and that I would not have known a thing about it, but I heard parents and some teachers talk about something that's about 180 miles from Wilson County, and it's a large park that's been owned by a family for a little over 65 years, and it's not a rescue farm, but it's one that's they are an international breeding center for animals that might be extinct, or one that they bring in there and then they ship them out to different zoos and places. So it was fascinating. I mean, there was a lot of Australian animals, and my little 4-year-old, she wanted to make sure I saw what a kookaburra was and a wallaby, and so we had a great field trip.
Yeah, that's a good day trip.
It was
Good day
really
trip.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Well, what about the schools? What do you want to talk about this morning?
Well, I think something that again that we can't get by without talking about what's happening, particularly with how we're set up right now. And at our last board meeting, we did go with 4th and 5th grade joining the K through 3rd grade on return from fall break. And as we mentioned that. We were talking about that with, particularly in elementary school, you see limited exchange of classes or movement, and they usually are one cohort group, such as a classroom, and so we have the 4th and 5th grade coming back after fall break. I know there was a lot of concern why we did not go ahead and move the remaining 6th through 12th grade, and as we said that night, when you're looking at multiple changes of classes during a day, we cannot maintain social distancing, and that's one thing we know creates COVID activity, and we've certainly seen it. And we're seeing large numbers, particularly in our 7th and 8th grade class, that if we came off the hybrid, you're looking at 30 in a classroom. And we, again, with an overabundance of caution, we're going to look at it, and as we said, we monitor every 20 days. We're hoping for a good trend, but like I said, when we first sat down here, as far as that prior to fall break, we were going in the wrong direction. And in fact, just looking on ending on October the 2nd, we had 31 positive students and 178 quarantined students. And that's concerning. But the big thing that, again, trying to explain to parents and others, when our staff become ill, we can't operate school without teachers. And we're seeing a rise. There were 9 positive teachers and 28 that have been quarantined because of close contact. And we know it's concerning. We know that parents are wanting us to get back to school, but we have to make sure that we also take every precaution, and we have to protect particularly our staff, because we can't have school without teachers in front of the students.
I don't think a lot of people realize that, Dr. Wright, that you have to protect your faculty, and I don't think a lot of the things that we're seeing, I feel like, are not coming out of the building as much as they are coming into the building. So,
yes, and that's what we're finding out.
Yeah. So.
And there's a lot of activity, and and the thing I guess that we think about just within Wilson County, but what we're also seeing is some extreme activity, as far as, when I say activity, COVID positives in surrounding districts as well.
We'll have more with Dr. Donna Wright, the Director of Schools here in Wilson County, when we come back off a break. But I think it's time that we take a traffic break for MJ and WANT, and we'll remind you you're listening to WANT 98.9, Lebanon, Tennessee. MJ?
Thanks, Larry. And it's now 7:45. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, and get $50 off, $250 repair offer to owners of 4 to 10-year-old Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury vehicles. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. We are looking live at this bumper-to-bumper traffic here, trying to escape from Rutherford County into Davidson County. It's a mess up through here. The wreck has been cleared on 24 westbound there at Harding Place, but it's left us with this huge backup here on 24 westbound. Again, coming out of Rutherford County into Davidson County, Nolensville Pike at Thompson Lane. There's just been a wreck with injuries at that intersection. Hey, celebrate autumn this year at Ober-Gatlinburg during Oktoberfest. Going on now through November 1st. You got music, food, live entertainment. Check it out, obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
It's another AFC clash at Nissan Stadium this Sunday. Your Titans host Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. We get you up to speed with the award-winning Titans countdown that begins at 11. Then Titans and Bills, every play, all the action, with voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, and Coach Dave McGinnis. Starts with a kickoff at noon.
Brought to you by Steve Moore Plumbing and the Jewelers.
LHS, Cumberland University, and the Tennessee Titans. The winning teams are on WANT 98.9.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
WANT is proud to announce the return of the Fakes and Hooker Scoreboard Show. Every Friday night, we will bring you local scores and interviews with Wilson County coaches directly after the LHS football game. The 2020 Scoreboard Show is brought to you by Fakes and Hooker, Burdine Supply, Designers Carpet, Kenny Salas and the hometown team of Keller Williams, Lebanon Appliance, Minchie's Landscape, Palometto's Insurance, and Sammy B's Restaurant. That's every Friday night after the LHS football broadcast, right here on WANT 98.9, Wilson County's own radio.
Good morning and welcome back to Coleman and Company. This is Larry Tomlinson. I'm sitting in for Coleman, who is on a special assignment or out just vacation and having a good time. I hope it's a little bit off. But my guest here this morning is Dr. Donna Wright, the Director of Schools for Wilson County. And Dr. Wright, once again, welcome, and appreciate everything you do, and bring us up to speed and what all's going on with the school.
Well, there's a lot. Think about this. A quarter of our school year's over now. Think about that. You have to bring that perspective. Even though it was a 7-week instead of a 9-week half of the semester, we are now on the 9-week tour of this first semester, and we're hoping that we're going to see a return, maybe not to normal, but at least get going in the right direction, and that's what we're hopeful for. Our students are doing well. I know it's a different time period because we have school going, but we also have a virtual program going too. Mm-hmm. We have about 2,600 kids. We started at 3,800, but many of them returned to school. We're now about 2,600 that are choosing to go virtual, and that's been a learning experience because again, that's something that we've never had to navigate or try to even create.
2,600 kids. That's numbers up a little bit from what I heard before, wasn't it? Or
No,
is it down a little bit?
It's down by about 1,000 kids. When we opened up the virtual program, we had about 3,800 kids, and as a couple of weeks would go by, and it's far different when you're sitting on the other side of a keyboard and a computer and communicating with a teacher. Mm-hmm. And so parents made decisions, and asked, can we come back? Yeah. And we certainly welcome that. But we also want to take care of the needs of children that might not feel that this is the time to be in a classroom.
Mm-hmm. The hybrid schedule is, I know there's probably been some issues with that too. And it's according to who you talk to, Dr. Wright. I talk to some parents that tell me that their children are really doing good with the hybrid, but in the the older children, I think that's where the biggest concern is, with our juniors and seniors and not having that day-to-day contact with the teacher that I've heard the most people talking about. Excuse me. Not really complaining about it as much as, they just feel like they're not getting as much as they need.
Well, and again, when you look at traditional education, and that's something that we all know and we're familiar with, because if pre-COVID, school was very similar to when, you and I were in school, very little different. You go to school every day. You have so much time that's devoted per class, whether it's, the younger children or teenagers. And what has occurred that we've tried to minimize as far as not only contact, but also to be able to maintain social distancing best we can. So hybrid, which is really we're still going to school, but it's trying to reduce by 50% the number of students, not only in class, but on a campus. Mm-hmm. And so with that, you're looking at a full day of school, then a remote day, then a full day. So you're looking literally 2 days a week of classes and then 2 days on remote. And the remote is what it really creates the angst, if anything, and particularly with parents, because that's when much of it's asynchronous as far as work's been assigned. They can work remotely off campus. And, and the thing that when we did a review this last couple of weeks to find out why we were seeing some struggling students, and like you said, not everyone. We have students that are thriving on this hybrid schedule, and parents really like it. But we have a few that are getting a little distracted and not quite as motivated if they don't have that teacher in the classroom in front of them, as far as by hour, and are not getting that asynchronous work completed, which is an extension of the classroom the day before, to be in preparation as far as when they go into class the next day. So there's confusion because it's different. And it's so foreign, but particularly when we're talking about juniors, seniors, and those that are planning on going to college, that is the world that they'll be going into. That is the work that they're going to see. And as I remind parents now, college is much different today than what they even experienced earlier. And many of the colleges and universities are still looking at a complete remote setting. And as far as working with a professor, off campus, and so it's a strange world. It's a disconcerting time because this is not what any of us anticipated, and certainly not. We don't see it as far as in the best interest of providing education. But the thing is, we continue to learn more. We're getting better at it, and we're also seeing some parents that were not. They were not happy with it, that are now saying that they're getting into the rhythm of school, and that's part of it. But we've got some phenomenal teachers that are doing everything they can to extend, wherever they might be, to the student that's remaining at home or the students on remote day.
Well, that's one thing that I'd like to like to say a little bit here about is you talked about the teachers and what a wonderful job they have done under adverse conditions. And you know, and Dr. Wright, we've talked about this before at our board meetings. There hadn't been a manual written about this to give us any kind of guidelines, or there wasn't anybody that we could call or you could call that could tell you, hey, how did you handle this situation? Because it's all new. But I do know that we have teachers out there that are really working hard to see that their students get all that they can get them at the time, and they'll let you know if you're not if you're lagging behind on some things there, that they'll tell you better come in and get your work caught up. And that's one thing I think that our parents need to know too. If your child's not being successful, then that principal has the right to ask you to come back to school. So
exactly, and that's, I guess I can't underscore that enough, because again, the idea that for some people are thinking that our teachers are working every other. That's not the case. Our teachers are working every single day, working harder than they've ever worked before, preparing lessons in a way that they've never had to prepare. And it's like you said, no one, and this is not unique to Tennessee, Wilson County. This is something that's happening across the country, and everyone's trying to figure it out to the best of their ability. And you know, it's sort of like the other night that we, at our board meeting, there's always a concern of that for summer slide or summer loss of learning. But, you know, when we left that last day on March the 3rd because of the tornado, and then moving forward, you know, we've been doing soft assessments with our children, and there was a lot of reach out, not school per se, but a lot of reach connection between students and teachers over the summer. And, you know, Dr. Cothran presented where we were, particularly in literacy. And we're very, very pleased, because that's something that we could still encourage. Reading is such a foundational skill, and we're not seeing that loss that many districts were reporting in the last month. And so we're really pleased with that. And we saw that mathematics in the early grades, because again, it's a skill that can be practiced. But where our concern is that when we start getting into the secondary math, particularly looking at algebra, geometry, that we see a loss of skill. But that's what we're going to be addressing, and the teachers are doing an incredible job with that.
Let's talk. You mentioned the tornado, and a lot of that's got lost in the fact that we've been dealing with this COVID deal, the pandemic. But bring our audience up a little bit to date on where we're at with dealing with the insurance companies and trying to get these buildings off the ground.
Absolutely, and I know that's been some frustration, particularly in the Mount Juliet community, and as well as our board chair, Mr. Tomlinson. And it's something that Mickey Hall, who is our deputy director over operations, he has been dogmatic about really working and trying to get this moved forward. But with anything with a project the magnitude of what we're dealing with, and we've used the term anywhere from $80 to $85 million, because we're talking about the loss of two schools, Stoner Creek and West Wilson. And as of last week, we believe that we are really, really close as far as to coming to an agreement with the insurance companies. I think we've gotten to the point as far as that it might not be a complete replacement, because we have a section on West Wilson that was built maybe 7 or 8 years ago that maybe by all parties might be salvageable. But the thing is that we are not wanting to compromise as far as the integrity of what we're looking. Stoner Creek is absolutely a complete replacement. And so there's been that piece back and forth. They're in New York talking this through. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to get into a demolition mode within the next couple of weeks. Every time we put a date out there, excuse me, we've been, upset that it's not been something that's moved to fruition as far as with that. But we are, moving forward with it. We have made sure that we have, particularly the board's wishes, that a decision needs to be made soon and quickly. And, and just as a reminder, particularly the community that's listening, we still have homes out in the Mount Juliet area that are still dealing with insurance companies in fact, we've seen it on the news. The homes are not even livable but the insurance companies are wanting them to just renovate. And so that's what we're dealing with too. But we see an end in very soon.
Well, I think from my standpoint, and the board's standpoint, Dr. Wright, our concern is the longer that we put this off or it gets delayed, the further behind we're getting those buildings built, and knowing that maybe as far out as it's going to be, how much more our population is going to be. How many students we got right now?
Right now, we have a little about 18,600. We're down about 740 students where we would have anticipated pre-COVID, but already getting concerns. Those that opted for other decisions are coming back. In fact, between September the 5th until presently, we've seen 248 students come back into the system. So again, there's no stability to that. And like you just said, particularly with two of our high schools that are also housing 7th and 8th graders, there's a concern. And we need those buildings to give us some relief.
Yes, we do. We sure do. And our population is growing every day, you know, and you just can look around and see all the homes that are being built in Wilson County, all over the county, not just in the Lebanon and Mount Juliet area, but Watertown, you know, is experiencing growth too. So,
and we're seeing some growth coming, as particularly as a population movement coming from the west, moving east, and so with that, we're also experiencing that as well.
Well, thank you for being here this morning, and our time is flown by, but I want to thank Hearthside Senior Living for sponsoring the second half of our show today, and thank Dr. Donna Wright for being here and talking about Wilson County Schools. And we hope everybody has a tremendous Tuesday, and thank Susie and MJ and Billy and all the crew here at WANT for making my job a little bit easier when I come in and sit in for Coleman, but it's something that we enjoy doing. And thank you all. Have a good day, and appreciate you listening to WANT 98.9 right here in Lebanon, Tennessee.